Yeah, so last week I was telling you about the rab that was budding
Right.
between they and I regarding the
The
mask
mask.
wearing.
Mm-hmm.
And for a quick recap, sending children to school first day without masks because, the ministry had indicated that they were no longer mandated. When they got to the school gate, they were told that upon a mask, right? When they came home the afternoon, I asked them what had gone on, and they told me, well, listen, they were told that upon the masks. I said, listen, just go to school the next day, politely tell the teacher that the ministry has removed the mandate, and your parents have indicated that you don't need to wear the mask, and if they have any issue, anybody had any issue with that, they could call your daddy, right? So, and that's where we left it off last
Right.
week. I told you, well, we will see how it goes from there. So the next day, they went to school, and they were told to put on the mask by the gate again. So they put on the mask.
So this mask now that they put on would have been mask they gave them or they had their
Yes.
mask? Yeah.
No, because we're not sending them with any
Right.
masks.
So I don't know if
But-
they keep the mask on the day before now.
No, because when they were picked up the day after, they took it off as soon as they came out of the classroom and they threw it down. They threw it to the bin. So the next day, they were provided with masks again at the gate. I can't remember if my daughter said she put it on or not. Maybe she had it in her hand. But when the class had begun or was about to begin, she stood up to tell the teacher what I told her to say, and the teacher stopped her, said, no, that's rubbish. Put on the mask. Right?
What is rubbish that the minute she said that?
Well, I guess, I don't know what she was referring to.
Right.
But if it was, the idea of not wearing the
Yeah.
mask or just what she was saying to her, I don't know. But they were made to put on the mask. So that afternoon, I went to pick them up. And they came out of the classroom wearing the mask. So I was like, what's going on? I thought you all told the teacher. That's when she explained to me, Daddy, I stood up to tell her. Because my son is different. He has no problem. Once he thinks what you asked him to do is foolish, then he has no problem. He doesn't care if everybody else is wearing a mask. He doesn't care if you're angry that he's not wearing a mask. He doesn't care. If he thinks it's foolish and he doesn't have to put it on, he's not going to put it on. But my daughter, she's a little bit,
Yeah.
she's more nicey,
Yeah.
And so I really was trying to get her to stand up for herself, you know. So that's why I asked her to say it instead of Simba. But she came outside, she said, she tried to tell her.
Yeah.
So I say, you see this? Let me sort this out one time. Asked to speak with the teacher. The teacher, I was told the teacher was unavailable. So I said, let me talk to the principal. So I'm speaking to the principal. I said, listen, I told my children that it's no longer mandated, and so therefore they should just tell the teacher that, and so on and so forth. So I explained to her what had happened. Then she started telling me, well, yes, the ministry didn't mandate it, but we are asking the children, as when they're in enclosed areas, like that they should. We're strongly advising that they still, because they are, and she keep repeating, they are in an enclosed area. Now, mind you, these are ventilated classrooms, and these aren't air-conditioned rooms. Now, they're supposed to have AC in the room, but at this point, the AC not working, so they have open windows. So she keeps saying an enclosed area, but it's not what you think, right? It's not like a library hall or something. So I said, I hear all that, but the ministry has indicated that it is no longer mandatory to wear the mask. So I don't understand why they should be penalized for not wearing the mask. The fact that all the other children are complying with your request is fine. They are choosing not to. So, and then she starts to tell me about, well, but okay, all right, no problem. But then, you'll have to watch the sneezing and the coughing and the this and that. I said, well, listen, as far as I'm aware, the guidelines do not encourage people to cough and sneeze in masks, right? You would remove the mask and sneeze into
The elbow.
the elbow.
Yeah, in elbow.
What is called it? The nook or the rook or something of the elbow. Crook, I think is the term they use, of the elbow. And if necessary, you sanitize that area and you move on and then you place the mask back up. So his sneezing or her sneezing has nothing to do with the mask wearing, right? Even if he was masked, whenever he sneezed, if it is, you say he's sneezing too much, then he had to call us, and we'll take him home, as you did last term on a couple occasions. When you felt they were displaying flu-like symptoms, you quarantined them, you called us, and we came for them. But you keep bringing up his sneezing as if, well, if he was wearing a mask, we wouldn't have a problem. But he can't sneeze into the mask. Anytime he sneezes into a mask, you got to get rid of that mask and put on another one, right? So what proper sneezing etiquette is the issue? And he was standing right there, so I told him, haven't I told you on numerous occasions how to sneeze? Yes, how to sneeze. And he explained the same thing I just told you. I said, what will happen? I will send them armed with hand sanitizer and napkins. So if necessary, if they need to wipe their arm or their nose or anything with sanitizer after having coughed or sneezed, no issue. I said, but she said, okay, no problem. That's your right. You all could exercise your right, whatever. She keep using the term exercise your right as if... Anyway, so I said, but listen, I don't want that, as I have made this clear now, we're going to have the teacher singling them out for victimization because, well, you don't have any mask. Anytime you open your mouth, move up, call the parents, coughing, sneezing. Because, Simba in particular, he's had some sneezing fits sometimes. Even last term, the teacher he had before, because when they were doing online classes, she used to see him having these sneezing fits, like he had allergies or something like that. So she didn't fuss whenever she saw him sneezing before. But if he was coughing or appeared like he had a runny nose, then she would get, But I asked him, Simba, he said, nah, I not really sneezing that often, so I don't understand. Where's the problem? So anyway, we left it at that. I said, so I hope there'll be no victimization. She said, nah, that's not a problem. That's not issue. Okay, cool. Send them to school the next day with all the masks again. So I come and pick them up. How did it go? Miss put them in the back of the class. I said, what? She told them to come out of the seats, their assigned seats, and they have to sit at the back of the class away from the other students. They have to social distance because they're choosing not to wear a mask. My daughter said she kept referring to her as Miss No Mask.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Nah.
Yes.
Oh, God, you're telling lies, boy.
Well,
don't tell lies now, man.
Listen to me.
Oh, God, boy.
Listen to me. If these are lies, they're coming from them. Now, up to now, I haven't had a chance to speak directly with the teacher. The breaks in that real bad, right? So I'm only dealing with her superior. But, and the superior is, well, we'll get to that, right? What she told me. But that is what my daughter has said. Let me be honest. She didn't say she keeps referring to her as Miss No Mask, but she said she called her Miss No Mask. And like, Miss No Mask, you go so, or Miss No Mask, you go so. Right? And then when they were, I think that even when they went outside, they were playing outside or they were doing some exercise outside, and she was still treating them that way. And, well, this is the part that you don't know how much of it is added on.
Right,
you know what I mean? Because they say, well, the students teasing them because, right. So obviously I get irate now, right? So I say, let me speak to the principal again. I say, yes, Miss, remember your assurances that we wouldn't have a situation where there's victimization. Those assurances, like, they won't worth much now. She said, what you mean? What do you mean by that? And blah, blah, blah. So I explained, I said, listen, the children telling me that they were placed at the back of the class and they were told that because they're not wearing a mask, they have to social distance. And I'm simply asking the teacher to point to the ministry policy that allows her to do that. Oh, no, that's not supposed to be happening. But I have to do a proper investigation because children, how children could sometimes they may not give accurate information. I was like, all right, so do your investigation, but I need you to make it clear to the teacher that from what I understand, what she's doing is not her role. It's not within her remit. So please, get her to cease and
You use
desist.
words like remit and things?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What happened?
I don't know. I think, I'm just trying to figure out how, they would perceive you, using those words.
Well, I don't know.
The average man don't use words like remit, let's be real.
Okay, maybe. But all right. So that was that. But she told me she would do the investigation and she'd get back to me as soon as possible, right? On the following day, that was Friday, she told me that they had some issue in the school. They had some funeral that had to be conducted, some former student. And, it was a lot of... the day was busy, hectic,
Right,
so she didn't get to do it. So, but Monday for sure. When I saw her this morning, she said, well, that she was... she was up dealing with the children outside. So again, she
taking
said...
temperatures and,
Right.
and collecting
Screening forms.
screening forms.
Yes. That whole malaki. And so when I hailed her out, she said, this evening for sure. She mean afternoon, but
Yeah.
So when I got there, again, you were there. So, and I told her, now, the last time I walked in the school, you can't just do that. You can't walk in. You can't. So I said, let me not get on the, because, I didn't mention that the time when I went to speak with her, the guard tried to get me to put on a mask, insisting
Shucks.
that I need to put on a mask to talk to the principal. I was like, ma'am, I don't know what policy you're referring to, but you cannot compel me to put on a mask anymore to enter the compound, nor to speak with the principal. I said I spoke with the principal yesterday without a mask, and she had no issue. So I don't... I'm telling you. Well, I said, well, okay, when she comes, because somebody went to call her, I said, when she comes, ask her, right? So when she comes, as she's approaching, the guard, pointing to my face now.
Yeah.
And she just brush her off and she continues to speak to me. Because that's not the policy. That's not the policy. You might want... That might make you feel more comfortable. But it's not... You can no longer compel people to do it.
And as we said last week, I don't want to go down that road again. It's not because you're making him feel more comfortable. Not the mask making him feel more comfortable. It's the power.
Yeah, and my compliance.
Yeah.
My compliance is what you really want to ensure takes place. So I went again this afternoon. I said, no problem. You tell me come this afternoon. I'll come this afternoon. She gave me a next story, boy, Naldo. She tell me they had some electrical issues in school today, which you were aware of, right?
Right.
And it's not true. She's not making it up. It's true. But she didn't get to... I said, listen, I understand. And I'm not insinuating that you're brushing me off or attempting to brush me off, right? But let me tell you, the children... Because you were there when they came out and they told me she doing it again. She continuing to do it. So I said, they came out just now and they insist the same thing is happening. At this stage, I don't feel a line, right? Even if there might be some exaggerations here and there, it is clear that the teacher is continuing to discriminate against them. And again, I would like her to point to the ministry policy that allows her to do that. And so I would ask that before school tomorrow, you address the issue. You may not be able to complete your investigation, but a simple, hey, you can't do that to the children. Stop doing that to the children, please. Because they can't continue to suffer while this is being dragged on. I say I'm not trying to step on your toes, and I understand there's a process, but my children are suffering in the meantime. So if we could put a stop to that, that'd be nice. So she promises again that by tomorrow morning
She will adjust.
She will have some clarification to put to me. So between me and you, dog, I honestly feel it will reach to them having to transfer to another class. Because I'm getting the impression that the individual, the teacher, I think the teacher is the problem. I don't think it's so much the school.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Because the parents, some of them are parents who do the operation on the outside now, helping the entry, ensuring that the entry protocol is adhered to. They were the ones, who were given my wife static the morning about how, they need to wear a mask or whatever. But every time I drop them, just because once they were told, no.
Yeah.
Them children not on that. You know what I mean? Allow them. They're done. It's not any argument with them. They're not teasing them. They're not watching them like, oh, you're not coming. No. Morning. How you going? 2 and 1, 2 and 2. And everybody's cool. No other teacher ever gives them any static. So I suspect the teacher, instead of coming to school and focusing on her job, she is intent on playing COVID police.
Or mass police.
Well, COVID police in general. Because what they're telling me is that she always talking about what's the right thing to do with respect to, and what they told me to happen today was that some student she found the mask was a little bit, too tight or stiff or something like that. So she took it off, but she put on a face shield. And the teacher was pointing out, see that? That's what you're supposed to do, to the rest of the class of most likely trying to
antagonize them and kind of
shame them into compliance.
Wow.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. You come to play COVID police.
You are real composure, boy.
Well, as I say, I can't speak directly to the teacher. So, well,
unless you could have teleport in and out of that school, I was fine in there. Because here's the thing, Of I don't mind you having a stance or whatever the case may be, Basically, when it's like you want to poke, you're bullying mature. That's you're bullying mature, right?
Yeah.
And whether the bullying coming from a child or a teacher, I'm not accepting your bullying mature.
Yeah.
That's not. I'm not taking that now. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So, as I say, unless you were able to teleport in and out of the school.
Let me tell you, the main reason why I don't want to. I'm not pressing talking directly to the teacher is because, I'll be frank, I think it's a dealing with. And it could only go, it's not like if I'm going to have a reasonable conversation with you, I'm going to tell you. Because from all that I'm hearing, it's almost like, you know the kind of people, especially when COVID conversations come up, you know the kind of people, you know what I'm saying? And ultimately, she will probably take the position that, well, you can't tell me what to do in my classroom. So I know it will always have to go above her anyway.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So let me deal with it that way. And so that it doesn't have to come to me.
No, listen. I understand what you're saying, but I understand what you're saying. And as I say, I give you full props to Dana, boy, because I might just be way more arrogant. You understand? And handle things poorly.
Well, maybe not arrogant is not the word you're looking for. Probably more aggressive is what you're trying to say.
Right? And handle things poorly.
And then it just go awry from there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if I felt like it was somebody who was open to reason, then and they just needed to be shown reason, then I would probably make a greater effort to talk to. But at this stage, I feel like if I see you and start to talk to you, it'll go down, it'll go left real fast. I was telling my wife that as well. I was like, that's why I'm not really pressing this. You're talking because I don't want to talk to you. Because from my understanding, you're not really a sensible person. So I can't have no conversation with you. Just go left. Because from the description of the person and the actions that they're giving you feel when I talk to her, she'll be like, oh yeah, or she's going to go off on some nonsensical rant about her safety, and because she keeps saying that she's just trying to keep the children safe. That's not. Last time I checked, yes, the safety of the children on the compound is to some extent the responsibility of the teachers, but not when it comes to COVID policy. You know, COVID mitigation policies.
But even your son was saying this evening that children are taking off
the mask to eat in class. They're eating in class.
Yeah.
They're all eating in class.
And children are taking off the mask to do what they have to do and function if they have to function. And
they all eat in the class at lunchtime. They're not encouraged to go outside and eat. So they're all eating. They're told to sit in the class and eat. And they all remove the masks to eat. So, listen,
Like COVID lunch break too.
Listen. That's what the reason why because it's the same reason why I would not want to talk to somebody who isn't even the teacher or anybody in a position of authority over me. I wouldn't even try to have them arguments because from the time you start to talk, I didn't realize. Look what look what you just pointed out. So you feel like a reason with this person. What they're doing has nothing to do with COVID. It has nothing. It has everything to do with bullying, a sense of us. Now, what I do also believe is that, as I've said 1,000 times when it comes to the mask wearing, is that human beings have a real issue with dealing with things they can't control. So they like to engage in rituals that make them feel better. And they feel like, and it dawned on me the other day when I was waiting to speak to the principal, the morning when I dropped him off, I was waiting to speak to the principal. I don't know if you ever stood up and saw the whole routine before school starts, like after the prayer and the...
I didn't see it during COVID. I saw it years ago.
Right. Well, not it had nothing to do with COVID. This is the routine I'm talking about from the time they come.
Well, I don't know what has happened now because before they could have, when they reach in school, they could have gone into their classes and then bell ring and they'll come back out and do the routine. Right. But now, I don't know, they just tell them they could just, some of them could just rest their bag and the lunch kit in the class, but they have to come back out. They can't stay in the class.
Right. No, it's not even, when they go and sit in the class, there's a routine that goes on. They play pledge, anthem, national song, school song, thing. It's about a million things that they do. A 2 minute of silence and a prayer for this and a prayer for that, and there's a prayer for crime. And when I heard that, I was like, yeah. They really been doing that a long time. Now, how's that been working out? Right? But then it dawned on me, that's what this mass thing is like. And I don't mean no disrespect to religious people, but it's like prayer. To a large extent, it's like prayer. And let me explain what I mean. Now, there's a very deep and meaningful and kind of meditative purpose of prayer, to prayer, right? I'm not a religious person, but I can understand that for people who feel they have a connection to a higher being, a prayer could be a way to have a conversation with something bigger than them, a connection to something that they feel rooted to. And, wise people, when they pray, if they have to ask for anything, most times they'll ask for like things like strength and forgiveness and
guidance
and like, so those things are supposed to, what they're asking for is the strength to deal with the uncertainties of life. But when most people pray, or there's a very superficial and kind of selfish purpose to prayer, which is to ask God to solve your problems, right? So some people pray for God to keep them safe for the day.
Some people pray for things.
For things, right?
Yeah.
But somebody will tell you, I don't leave the house without praying for safe passage, You feel that, what does that do? I don't pray for safe passage, and I went on the same journey as when I came back. So is it that your prayer kept me safe? You know what I mean? Or how does that work? And so what if safe passage for you means you dodge a pothole, but then you drive into another man, and then he drive over the median and bounce into another man. So that's what God did. God saved you to kill him. How does that work? Because obviously a wise person will understand that's not that can't be how it works. So what you pray for is the ability to deal with the uncertainties of life. Strengthen me so I can, and more or less, even whether you're talking to a higher being or not, just in understanding that you are building up yourself. So your prayer works whether there's a higher being to hear it or not. But when you're praying for crime, right? Every morning you're saying a prayer for crime. Has crime been, what has happened with the crime situation since you've started doing that? Has it improved? But would they stop? No. Because that's and it's not even trying to be disrespectful here. That's how people are. It's something they can't control. They have no control over the crime situation in the country. But being able to pray, it gives them some sense of, well, I am doing something. I can do something. I could exert some sort of control over the situation. To a large extent, the mask. And that's why it doesn't matter what quality mask you wear. It doesn't matter how religiously you wear the mask. If it fits properly, it doesn't matter to them if you bring data that shows that, because you could find that for the United States where they did observational studies and showed that districts where students were made to mask and districts where students were not made to mask showed very little difference, if any, in rates of transmission and so on and so forth. It doesn't matter if you tell them, but this thing is endemic, it's never going away, so what's the point of an avoidance strategy anyway? You know what I mean? What you're ducking it for, how long you intend to duck it for. None of that will change their minds, because they are just insisting that engaging in this ritual is going to help me and makes me feel as if I can control something I really don't have any control over, which is whether you catch this thing or not.
And I mean, yes, as you're saying, pertaining to the prayer, and I mean, I just kind of pull something out of it. It mightn't be pertaining to the mass specifically, but I think that is where a lot of problems happening in society. A lot of people, they try to use prayer to fix problems, but nothing else.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So nothing is fixed.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right. I mean, and use nothing else but the prayer.
Right. So you be like, you want to stop world hunger.
Yeah.
But you don't take a cent out of your pocket.
Right.
And buy something for somebody to eat.
Right. Precisely. Yes.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah, and you could have real money, but
exactly, and it's because it's the simplest thing to do. And what you're really looking for is a feeling. You're not really trying to solve a problem. You're looking for a feeling. Because if you're trying to solve the problem, then you would, sit and think about what you could really, what you could do that could really move the needle or whatever. And it's kind of like with COVID as well. Now there are things you can do that will seriously that will seriously impact the chances of you catching the virus. That's without a doubt. But those are extreme things.
Right, which you're not doing now, because once the children have to sit down in the same class and eat food, let's just say they take half an hour to eat food.
Yeah.
Half an hour in a classroom.
With them talking,
playing,
laughing.
Shouting. Yeah. 5 days a week, chaos.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Right?
So the extreme, which is the thing which would help, which would mean, well, I mean, to be fair, a lot of them would probably want to go back home to it. But the point is, it's not happening. We're not doing what will really move the needle. What will really move the needle is keeping people apart, right? So for the average person who would defend the wearing of the mask now, they would say, they do it, they not just they're doing their part, but they'll say, I'm still being responsible. I'm still being, but there are other things that would have a much bigger impact on whether you catch it or not, but you're not doing those things. You're not prepared to do those things.
Exactly.
You're not prepared to do those things. So why is this the thing that you're holding on to? Well, because it's simple. Many of them have just grown accustomed to putting it on their face anyway. Some people, it looks to me like some people like it. I think some people like it. I think
ugly people should. I mean,
true.
Yeah.
I think covering your face in them instances might be a good idea, but I think some people have come to like it. Most people have grown accustomed to it, so it isn't an imposition for them.
Well, and then of course it have the what's the term is used? The superficial aspect of it. Not superficial. I think one of them terms is used where people just do it because they feel they have to do something, and this is the thing that they're doing.
Right. Yes.
You understand?
Yes. Yeah. Something has happened. Something needs to be done. This is something. So let's do this. Yeah.
Yeah. So there are some people who hear them talk and it's like, well, it's still here, so I had to do this.
It's almost a superstition thing. Like, if I don't do this, then it will come for me.
Then it will attack me.
Then it will come for me.
And then you see them, you miss them for a while. Yeah, boy, I get, Alright, bro. What I can tell you.